First up tonight, a bikie war is brewing across Australia's east coast, with police in New South Wales and Victoria on high alert. A series of gangland shootings in public settings over recent days, leading to renewed calls for tougher laws to combat bikie violence. In the heart of Sydney, a former lone wolf bikie in the car park of his apartment building is shot approximately 10 times in the head and torso.
It's a bit scary and confronting because it's so close to home.
Yusuf Nazliolu, who was found not guilty of shooting Comanchero boss Mick Howie in 2018, was rushed to Westmead Hospital but was declared dead this morning.
The attack, in our view, was a targeted attack. The person who approached the 40-year-old male and shot him clearly was there to do that.
This attack has been linked to a spate of gangland shootings over the past 2 years, but the uptick in violence isn't limited to Sydney.
Now to Melbourne, where gangland warfare has erupted on the streets in broad daylight.
On Saturday, ex-Mongols bikie Suleiman Abdurrahim survived a failed execution attempt after leaving a funeral in Melbourne's north.
Well, certainly they're becoming more bold, more frequent, and it was a very brazen attack here. In the past, there's always been this theory that the bikies do all their business behind closed doors. What we're seeing now isn't the case.
Suleiman, a pro boxer known as the Punisher, drove himself to the Fawkner police station, nursing multiple bullet wounds to the chest. He's now in a stable condition in hospital.
Here we have a real situation where an innocent person could have been killed, and if this continues to go on, which it has been for a while, that's the big risk.
The shooting has reignited calls for Victoria to follow the leads of Queensland and New South Wales and introduce tougher anti-bikie laws, cracking down on public association between gang members.
Every state will tell you that they have the toughest bikie laws in the nation. Forget who's got the toughest laws, what's working and what's not working. Because simply put, the laws currently aren't working, are they? Otherwise we wouldn't have these repeat situations.
I don't think it's accurate to suggest that the current laws are inadequate.
So are tougher laws really the solution? And what's behind this bikie war resurgence?
Well, Dr Terry Goldsworthy is a former detective inspector with Queensland Police and is currently Associate Professor of Criminology at Bond University. He joins us now. Terry, what actually sparked these latest outbreaks of violence? What has set it all off?
Yeah, look, these groups are all about reputation, power and greed. You know, they're in the organised crime game to get rich. So ultimately they compete for markets, they compete for geographic territory to control. To make that, you know, illegal source of money, etc. So where they come into conflict there, they then resort to fear, intimidation and violence, and they're the tools of the trade for them. So, they seem fairly brazen at the moment. I mean, certainly the police are aware of the threats that were made in a number of these murders now, and it didn't stop the offenders from going through with their threats.
Well, there are calls for Victoria to adopt the same, tougher laws that exist in Queensland and New South Wales. But because you're talking about enacting laws for people who live outside the law, would it have any real effect?
Yeah, look, Queensland's often held up as a poster boy of how to deal with motorcycle gangs and, set them and sort them out. The consorting laws we have up here are the same as in New South Wales, and up here in 6 years we've had probably less than 20 people charged under those consorting laws. They're only a 3-year imprisonment offence maximum penalty, so they really are a bit of a toothless tiger. What you're better doing is putting your efforts into identifying high-level criminal activity, and that is, if you know threats are being made that someone's going to have a contract taken out to them, then put your investigation efforts into finding out who put the contract in place and who's going to pick up the contract to do the hit. We've done a number of studies now and looked at those consorting laws, and they really are ineffective. We looked at the ACT, which doesn't have any consorting laws, and their bikie crime has not blown out of control. And in fact, their bikie membership decreased in the last 5 years when we looked at that.
Hey, Terry, maybe they're not consorting, and that's why they can't be charged with consorting.
Yeah, look, consorting's a fairly wide offence. If they're not communicating, well, I don't know what they're up to, but it really is just an annoyance offence. It stops two guys going and getting an ice cream together. If you meet, two bikies meet and go down to have a Big Mac at McDonald's, they're consorting. So, there's no criminality attached to it. That's a real fallacy.
I just need to ask, are they actual birds in the background, or are they just witnesses singing like canaries.
Yeah, no, it's birds. Yeah. If I was down in Victoria, it could be witnesses, but up here, there's nothing happening in Queensland. It's all good.
Keeping your cards close to your chest there, Terry. Very professional. Now, to many people, it would seem as if the bikies are taking care of this amongst themselves, but a woman and a child were carjacked in Melbourne by the alleged shooters. So is the community actually in danger?
Oh, look, I think the community is always in danger when you have people who are armed and dangerous and prepared to shoot getting around in the community. They've got to go to the location to commit the offence, then they've got to leave. They steal cars to commit the offence, they source the weapons. You know, if you get in their way, there's a high likelihood that you'll suffer some harm.
You said that really over a longer period we haven't seen an increase in crime. It's just that a few have happened lately. But over the short term, it seems like there has been. I mean, we heard police warning us about the resurgence of the mafia. Now we're seeing bikie violence on the street. Is life coming back to normal, Terry? Are we at pre-COVID levels of crime?
Yeah, we are. I mean, COVID was a great policeman, if nothing else. It dramatically decreased most crime categories. And what we're seeing now in Queensland anyway is a return to the norm. So in the last 12 months, we've had a 5% increase in the crime rate in Queensland. Other states, I expect, will go back to pre-COVID levels of crime. So you might be seeing some more activity in terms of these groups getting back into perhaps criminal markets that were dormant during COVID, and now they're back into the normal swing of things.
You actually made that sound like you were from ComSec or something, just watching the stocks go up and down. That was extraordinary.
I often watch Tom Petrosky and I'm very impressed by him. He's very good.
Two experts in your field. Dr Terry, thank you very much for your time.
No worries, thanks.